In November 2022, a violent double homicide in Covington, Louisiana, left a lasting impact on the community. The victims, Reverend Otis Young and Ruth Pratt, they were not just random names in a headline. They were deeply rooted members of their community, known for service, connection, and faith. This is Hold My Sweet Tea. Hello, all of you beautiful podcast listeners. I'm Holly.
And I'm Pearl.
And we are sipping some beverages this morning and eating chocolate chip scones.
Woohoo!
I brought us scones this morning because I was like, I need something.
They're yummy.
They are yummy. I like them. I was hoping they wouldn't be dry and yuck, but they are not. They are delish.
Delicioso.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Do we have any things to talk about except for the, Murdoch case?
Oh, yeah, that was some
Getting
BS.
over. I was like, what the actual what? So now he. Ow. Sorry.
So now he. Ow.
So now he gets to be retried for all of that with all of the evidence pretty much resubmitted and taken out. Like, it's stupid. I don't understand. And
Yeah.
they're like, but, he's serving 40 years for the other stuff. That doesn't matter. He killed his wife, allegedly,
And his son.
and his son. But I guess money still talks, right?
I mean, how do you admit that you lied that you were in the kennels at the same time as them?
It wasn't me.
Yet it wasn't me.
You're going to find me in the kennels. It wasn't me.
I was talking on camera.
It wasn't me. I killed my wife and my son. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
It was a scandal.
Right. I took a nap for an hour, but that wasn't true. I'm just like,
Right.
what, bro? Really?
Yeah. I was like, I had to put the phone down because I was like, this is infuriating.
Yeah, it's
But
aggravating.
meanwhile, in Tennessee, there's a man on death row going to be sentenced to death here soon that has no credible, anything toward him saying that he actually did this crime. Should go look that one up. That one's just mind-boggling as well.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So, are we going to jump into this one then, now that we've sang to everybody and
Right.
entertained?
Seems to be our thing. So.
Right. So, this one's going to be a little bit of a long one, so I'm going to go ahead and get into it. It's one that hits very close to home, Covington, Louisiana. It sits on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, across from New Orleans. And Lake Pontchartrain is a huge lake, we know, and people are like, oh, that's not New Orleans. It's still the community of. It's adjacent. So historically, Covington was a 19th century health resort. It was marketed as the most healthy place in the United States. And this was due to its low death rates in the 1890 census. Let me tell you, if you're like thriving and living in 1890s, you're doing good. So I guess that's where the most healthy place in the United States tagline came from.
I see.
Yeah. It's often described as the picturesque southern gem of the North Shore, with its oak-lined sidewalks, moss-draped trees in the historic downtown district, the walkable patchwork of art galleries, boutiques, cafes along Columbia Street, and it really is beautiful down there. Every time I drive through downtown Covington, I'm like, ooh, it's so pretty. It looks like a movie set down here.
It does. And before we moved this direction,
yeah,
I literally drove through there and I was like, you know what? I bet it would be nice to live over here.
Yeah. It's so pretty. And the town it's nestled at the junction of 3 different rivers. So there's the Bogfalaya, the Chafunkta, and Abita River. So it creates a sense of isolation that locals jokingly call an island. This graphic intimacy reinforces a strong sense of community that makes the tragedy in 2022 even more jarring.
Yeah.
It really does. I remember hearing about this case and everybody was just in disbelief, mouths open.
We were at work.
What? Yeah, we were at work going, what?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before examining the crime and the conviction of Antonio Tyson, I think it's essential to understand who his victims were in real life. So we're going to start with Ruth Pratt. Ruth was known as someone who guided others, not just professionally, but in every aspect of her life. Ruth was a deeply embedded figure in the Covington community, serving as a longtime parishioner, administrator, and cherished active volunteer at St. Peter Catholic Church. Beyond her church role, she was recognized as a beloved community member, friend to many. She knew a lot of people, and caretaker. She was described by her family as a woman fulfilled by the people around her, especially her role as a mother and grandmother. She was affectionately called Mimi by her grandchildren, and it was a reflection of the closeness and warmth she brought to her family. Those who knew her described her as having an infectious smile, natural grace, and an ability to form immediate connections with others. Ruth was well-traveled, but she remained deeply proud of her home in Covington. Her presence within the St. Peter Catholic Church community was significant, and her loss was felt widely. Her family described her as someone who never met a stranger, someone whose kindness and openness made a lasting impression. They expressed gratitude for the support they received in the aftermath after her death and asked that both Ruth and Reverend Otis Young continue to be remembered. So now we're going to go into who Reverend Otis Young was. He served as a Catholic priest at St. Peter Catholic Church, where he was known for his years of service and the relationship he built within the parish. According to reports from the Times-Picayune, he was remembered for the lasting mark he left on not only the church, but its members as well. Parishioners described him as steady and compassionate, someone who was deeply committed to his vocation and to the people he served. Before entering the priesthood, though, at age 49, he had a successful career as a CPA for the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Colleagues and family often described his laugh and his personality as being 4 times his size. So he was like one of those jolly, just loud,
right.
Warm
somebody
people.
You can't help but notice,
right,
that's for sure.
Right. He laughed loudly, he preached loudly, he made his presence warmly felt in the room. It wasn't like an obnoxious thing. It was just like somebody that you know and trust and was just this happy, jolly soul. His role extended beyond religious leadership. He was a figure of consistency, guidance, and trust within the community. In 2020, after suffering a stroke, he was determined to return to St. Peter to continue serving, considering it his home. In July of 2022, he did retire, but he remained a familiar, active presence in the community. He was a humble, loving, and dedicated man of deep faith. Now, Ruth worked closely with Reverend Young for years. She served as his right hand in the parish administration. She was instrumental in helping him manage his daily life and continued ministry. Even after retirement, they remained close friends and confidants. So we're going to forward to November 27th of 2022. An investigation began with a reported hit and run near the Tammany Trace, which is a trace, bike path, running path, all that stuff. So it was near one of the...
And it's long.
It is very long.
Yes.
I haven't been down the whole thing, but it's long.
Me either. I mean, I've only been through part of it, so...
Yeah. The vehicle involved was traced back to Ruth Pratt's, but attempts to contact her were unsuccessful. Her phone was later found discarded in a dumpster, prompting concern and initiating a deeper investigation. So, security footage from the neighborhood became central to this whole case. A male, later identified as Antonio Tyson, was seen riding a bicycle through the area. He approached multiple homes before arriving at Ruth Pratt's residence. So let's talk about Antonio Tyson and who he was and his criminal background. At the center of the case is Antonio Tyson, who had a significant history of violent crime prior to the murders of Reverend Otis and Ruth. In 1993, Tyson was convicted of forcible rape, armed robbery, and burglary. So this was stemming from an incident that happened December 7th of 1991. Tyson and an accomplice, Walter J. Andrews, broke into the home of a 54-year-old Covington woman. They pistol whipped her, covered her head with a pillowcase, and took turns sexually assaulting her while threatening to kill her if she spoke about it. So, police caught Tyson shortly after the attack while he was driving the victim's stolen car. Seems like a pattern here. He was initially booked for possession of stolen property before the full scope of the crime was realized. There was a brief escape. Records indicate Tyson actually escaped custody for several days the following month before being recaptured with the assistance of a canine unit. So in 1993, there was a plea deal. He was originally charged with aggravated rape, which carried a mandatory life sentence. However, in 1993, he accepted a plea bargain for forcible rape, armed robbery, and aggravated burglary, resulting in a 40-year concurrent sentence, and served approximately 3 decades before he was released. Which is infuriating.
Yeah.
Because he didn't even serve the whole time, and it ran concurrent, so it all ran together. Records later revealed hundreds of disciplinary violations during incarceration. Prior concerns raised during parole evaluations. Despite this history, he was released before the events of November 2022. So he hadn't been out very long. His family, however, remained supportive during his decades of incarceration. His sister later described him as someone who went to church every Sunday and was always with his family. Now we're going to circle back to the security footage. Video showed Tyson speaking with both Ruth Pratt and Reverend Otis. So Reverend Otis was at Ruth's home at the time of this incident. He then returned shortly after, and this was all caught on videos from people's houses, appearing to conceal a weapon. He entered the home. Soon after, Ruth Pratt's vehicle was seen leaving the residence. So again, did what he did and then stole her car, like with the other victim. Additional surveillance tracked Tyson driving the victim's vehicle, visiting multiple locations, purchasing fuel at a gas station. So he didn't even try to leave the area. He was just joyriding around in her car. So a day later, on November 28th, authorities located a vehicle in a Walgreens parking lot with Tyson sleeping inside. He was taken into custody. Earlier that morning, though, shortly before 6 a.m., the owner of a local glassmaking business in the 600 block of East Gibson Street in downtown Covington discovered 2 bodies behind his building. And it's bad enough, like, you find 2 bodies, but both of these bodies had been burned beyond recognition.
Dang.
Like, imagine walking out of your back door of your business and seeing 2 just charred bodies back there.
I don't want to imagine it.
Yeah.
Nor, I mean, I can't even imagine what that would smell like, too.
Like, they had to use forensic identification because they couldn't tell if they were male, female.
Nothing.
Anything.
Yeah.
Like, just burned. So investigators later connected this movement to the location where the victims' bodies were discovered. The discovery came just after a hit-and-run investigation involving Ruth Pratt's car, and a subsequent missing persons report for both victims had begun the previous evening. So this is when investigators started building their case through surveillance footage, vehicle tracking, forensic evidence, including DNA, autopsy findings indicating violent causes of death. Authorities stated there was no known relationship between Tyson and the victims. It was just, so the video showed him going from home to home, so they just happened to open their door. And then I don't know what the conversation was between them, but he left and then came back with a weapon. And they let him in. So I don't know if it was kind of because they were such kind souls.
Right.
And maybe he played it off as he needed help. And they were like, well, go get, whatever, or come back. And we can help you out with this, the conversation they may have had because
there's obviously no telling because nobody else is alive to say what happened. But yeah, that's crazy.
And this is a very...
Nobody thinks you're going to answer the door and die.
When you drive around the downtown area of Covington, it's a lot of older homes and they all watch out for each other. They're really close together as well. So,
oh yeah,
when you have somebody with a camera, you can see a good part of the block, the neighborhood there. So it was several cameras that in sequence that caught him going from house to house and then to Ruth's house.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyson was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of second-degree kidnapping, obstruction of justice, possession of stolen property, providing false identification. The charges allowed prosecutors to pursue the death penalty. Of course, he pled not guilty, and the case proceeded through extensive pretrial motions, including attempts to suppress evidence and challenge the death penalty. According to reports from WDSU, Tyson was ultimately found guilty of the murders of both victims. So the conviction was based on the totality of evidence presented, including surveillance footage, forensic findings, and testimony outlining his actions before and after the killings. So just a couple weeks ago, on May 5th of 2026, Antonio Tyson entered a guilty plea of 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of obstruction of justice. His plea deal includes highly specific and unusual prison conditions agreed upon to ensure the most restrictive life sentence legally possible.
Interesting.
Crazy. Yes, so I'm going to tell you about these.
I was hoping so.
I'm not going to leave y'all hanging.
Like, I need to know what that means.
To bypass the risk of a death sentence being overturned due to Tyson's intellectual disabilities, the district attorney and the victims' families negotiated a unique housing arrangement.
Okay.
So, death row equivalent housing is what it's called. Although not sentenced to death, Tyson will be housed under conditions equivalent to those on death row at the Louisiana State Penitentiary, Angola. He'll have restrictive confinement. His movements and privileges will be severely restricted rather than being part of the general prison population. And then there's the waiver of appeals. As part of the deal, Tyson waived all present and future rights to seek a reduced sentence, parole, or any release mechanism, ensuring he dies in prison. Crazy, right?
So he's stuck there no matter what.
No matter what, he will not ever be able to get out. He will not ever be able to appeal it. He will never do, he will be treated as a death row inmate, just like they're treated. No privileges. The formal sentencing, although, is scheduled for June 8th, 2026 at 9 a.m. in Covington. The families of Father Otis Young and Ruth Pratt unanimously guided the plea decision. Members of both families are expected to deliver victim impact testimonies during the June 8th hearing before the judge officially imposes the consecutive life sentences. So I'll update on that, of course.
Okay.
As soon as that happens. District Attorney J. Collins Sims stated that the agreement secures the maximum punishment legally available while relieving the families from decades of potential appellate litigation. District Attorney Sims also stated that a death sentence was legally unfeasible due to a strict federal standard prohibiting the execution of individuals with intellectual disabilities as mandated by Atkins versus Virginia. The DA noted that while the crimes warranted capital punishment, compelling medical evidence regarding the defendant's low IQ and traumatic brain injuries as a child presented a high risk of any death sentence being overturned on appeal. So they just had to find the way around it.
Mm-hmm.
The case of Antonio Tyson is, I think, defined not only by the severity of the crime, but the lives that were lost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ruth was not only a mother or grandmother and a person who built connections wherever she went, but she was a human life. And same with Reverend Otis Young. He was a spiritual leader who dedicated his life to the church and the community.
Who I'm sure, like, both of them would be, like, willing to help him with anything he needed.
Right.
Regardless of
food,
his
shelter,
past.
anything. Like, they would have, not even with hesitation. And that's probably what happened and why they let him into the house.
Mm-hmm.
So as the legal process continues into sentencing, the focus remains not only on accountability, but on remembering who Ruth and Reverend Otis were in life.
Which is important.
Very important. So like I said, I'll keep an update on it and everything, but it's just wild how two people who dedicated their lives to helping others were so violently taken from this earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough.
And that goes for anything, even if you're not religious or whatever, but you're just, you're a good person that does good things for people. And then something like that happens. That's just a tragedy that never leaves your brain.
Well, and that's why I said what I said before the Lake and Riley episode. Bad things happen to good people.
Right.
And it really sucks.
It does. Very much so.
The impact when that happens is, like, huge.
It's a ripple effect, and it you feel it. And like you said in the beginning, we were at work when we heard about that. And just like, what? How did this happen? How did he get into their house? Did he break in or whatever? And I know his family is, I'm not saying that, they support what he did, but they are still supportive of him as a person. And I get that, if somebody in your family commits a heinous crime, there are things, some people will just be like, turn their back and never speak to them or whatever again. But you still have that connection with them because they're your family.
And I mean, with his intellectual issues and all of that, I'm sure that makes a big difference with how the family reacts to everything. Understandably, I mean, no one expects you to just all of a sudden be like, oh, you're not my family. You're blah, 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 whatever. They're going to be protective of their people still.
But it's just crazy, like, how he sat in prison for, like, 3 decades and then got out and immediately went back and did just about the same thing he got in prison for. So did he want to go back to prison? Was that it?
And that
because some people do.
There are,
they do not like it on the outside. They will find their way back.
Yeah, like somehow, some way, or they commit suicide.
Yep, because they can't handle the outside world because they've been on the inside for so long in a very structured environment that they will commit a crime. Yep. They're like, I don't want to get out, and they're like, well, we can't keep you here. You're done with your stuff, so there you go. You're free.
Yeah.
So they do.
Reoffend or, like I said, some of them actually commit suicide, which is really sad.
Yeah. Which also goes to the point of, are they even trying to help rehabilitate them?
Yeah, mental health. Really rehabilitation at all?
Or is it just you sitting there?
It's just punishment.
Yeah, it's just punishment.
Yeah. Yep.
But
crazy stuff.
Do you know what is not punishment?
Listening to our theme music that was created by Patty Salzetta.
You got it. Listen to you. You're on it. It is the most non-punishing thing to our ears.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
It's the bright spot in every episode.
And also, so this episode comes out on May 18th. My birthday is the day after. And for my birthday, I am going to ask for the ultimate free birthday present. If you listen to our podcast, share it, like it, send us a message.
Follow us on all the socials.
And follow us on all the socials.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate birthday present? Absolutely.
You know what would make that like one-upped is if someone sent us a Sweet Tea After Dark story.
Yes.
For your birthday.
That would be amazing.
That's a good present too. And they can send those to holdmysweetteapodcast@gmail.com.
Cost you $0.
Takes moments of your time to make Holly feel special.
Yay! And I never ask for anything.
It's true. She really doesn't. She likes to tell me every time I get her something how I didn't have to.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I know that.
I don't know.
I don't gift give because I have to.
When I was a little kid, my mom always, she would make my birthday special and all that stuff. But, as I grew up to like teenager and stuff like that, I'm like, it's literally just another day. Like, to me, it really, I'm a year older. So I never connect the two. But now my child, always make it special for him. I make sure that I get you something, even though you're like, oh, you didn't have to do that. Absolutely do. But for me, I'm like,
Yeah. This is our problem, how we don't give two shits about ourselves.
I know. I'm working on that.
We're trying to do better.
I'm working on that. But as always, Hold My Sweet Tea is a Drunken Bee production.
Bzz.
And you guys remember to stay safe out there. Get you a Ring camera, a Blink doorbell camera.
Yeah, I always check mine before I answer the door.
Yeah, always. I'm not going to...
I will talk to you through it. Like, can I help you?
I'm going to be that person. Somebody, rings my doorbell or knocks on my door. I'm like... I just go silent. And I'm like, I'm not expecting anybody.
I'm not here.
I have no deliveries coming.
You can't see me.
Who is that? Right? And just because we're dipping doesn't mean you can't keep sipping.
Bye.